YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video. All right, guys, let's get in it. Pros and cons of being a stripper. I randomly came across this video, and I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to go over it. Now, she's going to go through a pros and a cons list. I'm going to try to chop up her video. It's like a 12, 13-minute video. I leave the full video link down in the description so you can go review the whole thing if you want to see the whole video. I'm going to try to go over her pros and her cons. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to go into this conversation as open and empathetic and understanding as I can. I think I can sometimes go into these conversations with my own inherent biases with the particular occupation because of the stigma that's attached. Fact of the matter is there's a lot of different jobs and industries where the stigma's attached. I just did a live stream not too long ago on the stigmas attached to working a 9-to-5, right? There's a stigma attached to working as a stripper in the sex industry. So I'm gonna take my judgment hat off and we're gonna get in there. Without further ado,
welcome back to my channel, Blush by Malik. Today we are gonna figure out if dancing is right for you and weigh out the pros and cons that there are to this job. Our first pro is obviously going to be money. You know, dancers usually make a lot. If you're not making good money, you either need to learn how to hustle or you need to go to another club or city or something. You know, there's money to be made dancing for sure. The second pro to dancing is
just real quick, when she says make a lot of money, she didn't talk about how much money. How dare you make that a pro and not talk about how much money that you make? I wonder if this is a Googleable thing. Let's take a look. All right, look, I found some information. This comes from salary.com. Stripper salary in the United States, median is about $52,000 a year. What's interesting about this is that, you know, I've heard stories of strippers that can make 6 figures. Those typically are strippers that are in Vegas, for example. They can make well over 6 figures. However, what I also hear is that there can be a majority of their funds that are retained outside of stripping, but still to do with the sex industry. I'll leave that up to your imagination. So I think this is very interesting data. You know, we all have heard of stories of folks that can command 6 figures, but that's not typical. That's not on average a stripper in the United States in, you know, just a normal regular town. Median is going to be around $52,000 a year according to this. So what does that mean? About $52,000 a year. If you're working 40 hours per week on average in a normal type of a job, that's about $25 per hour. Okay, so if you can make over $25 per hour, and also too, I would assume that with stripping, there's not like insurance, there's not like benefits, there's no 401k. In fact, I know that there's not, right? And then you got to manage your own taxes as well. So although they're making $52,000, they got to manage all of that extra on the side as well. I mean, you can make $52,000 working a salary job where you don't have to show off your insides or your areolas and still get the health benefits associated with it. I don't really see this as a pro because the median salary in the United States is around $52,000 as well, okay? But it is what it is. Let's get back to the video.
the second part of dancing is the schedule. Most of the time you're free to come and go as you please. That's obviously a pro. That's how I've been able to travel so much this year. And you know, you don't have to call off or take off or anything like that. You just show up when you want to go. Because nobody is telling you that you need to be at work, you tend to not go to work. That's not for everyone, okay? But just if you had like a 5-day schedule, you would have to go or you would get fired. As with dancers, like if you're not feeling like going to work and you don't go, no one's gonna fire you. No one's gonna discipline you unless you discipline yourself. So yeah, that's one thing. So the third pro.
I wonder if it's one of those types of things, like if you're an exotic dancer at a particular club, like are you only tied to that club? Or can you, like, if you're dropping into a new city and you're looking at your bank deposit and you're like, dang, I need to make some money, you go work for a couple of hours at some other establishment. I wonder if it's like, if you're like a contractor and then they can just hire you per night, you know, depending upon the need at the establishment, or can you only do it at that particular rate, only where you sign that W-2 at? You see what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe she'll answer that.
Pro to dancing is that you get to network and meet people all the time. That's part of your job, is to meet people, you know. Yeah, that can be like very helpful. They can help you do things. You know, a lot of people are knowledgeable on different subjects. You have the opportunity to ask them because you meet people from all around the world. Well, I know I do. I meet people from all around the world, all different type of income backgrounds and all that. And I always get, you know, the chance to ask them questions or something if I'm curious. I also get people that want to help me all the time. You know, they ask me, do I need help building my credit? Do I need help doing this, that, and the other? I meet some really nice people. The fourth pro.
Networking. That seems to be a pro. I guess. Yeah, sure. Networking. They give you information and money in exchange for your talents and services. All right.
To dancing is that it is empowering. So it just is like when a man is like staring at me and I'm like, I just watch them drool over me and it's just so weird. It's not weird, but it's just like, wow, like it's empowering. You know, it lets me know how much power it really holds as a woman. Okay.
Oh, that's an interesting one right there. Let's talk about that one real quick. The empowering. This is interesting, right? Because I talk about this on the channel from time to time, and it's at the point that you hit 18 years old, and the difference between the value of a dude and the value of a man is what's seen in the dating marketplace, which, you know, can be very empowering for a young woman, but very real for a young man. What she's describing is how much power that she feels when she's, you know, looking at a dude and how he's looking back and drooling and giving away all this money, and she feels like she's using this like Jedi mind trick to convince him to put his hand in his pocket and take singles out and shower her with it. To a degree, it is. You know, there's a lot of dudes that, you know, are addicted to the visual aesthetics of young women that they see in the strip club and can do nothing else than shell out their wallet in order to receive attention. Side note, by the way, I've never liked strip clubs at all. Anytime that I'm like in a city with like my homies and they're like, yo, let's go I always try to shoot it down, right? Like I just don't like them. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of money. Like, why pay people to dance in front of you at an establishment when you can just go on your purpose and get that for free, right? In your own crib. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. But what she's talking about is this inherent value of being young, beautiful, and then showing components of your body in a really feminine way, which dudes love. They love that, especially in this entertaining type of environment. You know, some of them try to take it past the entertaining. You see what I'm saying? But it's an entertaining environment. Here's the thing is that it's very empowering for you at your young age of, you know, your early 20s or however old that you are. A decade from now, the empowering feeling that you're getting from it right now, decade to 15 years out from now, it will not be the same. The value and the empowering will start to gradually decrease as the new crop starts to come into the front door, okay? Then the tides will start to shift. So I don't know, I see this as a very short-term position again, guys, my judgmental hat is off right now, but I see this as a very short-term position, something to maybe gain a little bit of money as you're trying to find yourself as well, at the same time, but not something that you can really foresee doing in the long run. Let's keep on going. Empowering. It's an interesting one, but I get it.
5 pro is that, you know, you get to be in a club environment. You get to party, drink, have fun all the time if you want, you know, and it's fun. It really is fun, but it can be fun, you know. It can be annoying too if you don't have the right mindset. Our 6 pro.
Yeah, I mean, and especially strip clubs, you know, and depending upon what type of strip club it is going to be a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, right? I mean, a lot of dudes that are going to be offering your time, prepositions. So, I mean, it is what it is. Now, at the same time, too, I grew up in the Northeast. I grew up in New York. The strip clubs, at least Where I grew up at is a lot different in the South, right? Like in the South, this is like, you go there to go get some good wings, some good food. But it's like a club in the South. It wasn't like that in the Northeast, at least from my memory back when I used to live there. It might have changed now, though, right? It might have changed now. But I know that for a fact in the South, it's much more like a club type of environment. Let's keep it moving.
Pro to dancing is that you get to learn about men. You get to learn how married men act, just how men act in general, how they act in a strip club, how they act when they're in front of their wife versus when they're not in front of their wife. It's like men feel this freeness in the strip club, I guess. I take advantage of it and learn all that I can about them. So the number 7 pro to dancing is that you're able to travel anywhere. I could go dance in Miami, New York, Cali, blah 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 blah, Vegas. You guys could come dance in Atlanta. That's definitely a pro. You can go wherever and dance for a few days, leave, maybe go back, back and forth. You can live in a couple cities if you wanted to and have multiple jobs, so that's like definitely a pro.
I mean, honestly, I guess that really is a pro because it gets you out of your current city to see other cities, right? Build your network across the country. I just think that, there's so many other types of positions, especially now in this coronavirus environment, where work from home is really starting to be a thing. And really, you don't even have to be tied to your city. You don't have to live in like an inner city anymore. You can live out in the suburbs in a very cost-effective house and work from your laptop. That might be the new normal going into the future. I also would assume as though, I know this, that all of these strippers, they're affected by social distancing, right? So I would assume that a lot of them probably went to OnlyFans. All right, let's keep it going.
The first con to dancing is that it can be pricey to dance. You have to usually get a license for the club, which can range from $100 to $300-$400. Then you have to make sure you have shoes and an outfit, makeup if you don't have makeup. But some girls dance without makeup. I personally can't or don't want to. And also you have to pay to work. So some clubs, they make you pay up front. So that would be another expense that you have to come up with before you can dance, is your tip out money. Number 2 con.
She's educating me. I didn't know that there was like licenses that you had to attain. Okay. And I didn't even think that you'd have to pay in order to use the stage, right? Sort of like how a barber has to pay to use a chair. I didn't know that. I never even conceived that. So yeah, so it's, it's less like a 9-to-5 type of position where you're not paying to sit in a chair, more like you being an entrepreneur and paying the establishment for the security, the safety, right, and the stage, the platform to be able to do that. I never even considered that. So thank you for the education.
Into dancing is going to be obviously like the bullshit that you have to deal with. People are so blankety blank aggravating. Like, you're gonna have to grow thick skin in there and just learn to ignore people, ignore not to care, and move on with your life. Okay. Number 3 cons to being a dancer is that there are no benefits. No one is matching your 401k. No one's paying your health insurance, your kids' health insurance, anything like that. No, none of that. Which brings me into number 4 con, and that is if you get hurt, you can't work. And if you can't work, you don't make any money, period. Maybe you can sue the person that hurt you if it was someone else's fault and collect the money you were supposed to be making, but the only way you can do that is if you filed your taxes for it and have proof that you're making that money. So,
yo, that's actually a good point. I didn't even think about that. I talked about it earlier about, health insurance and 401k, but also in these organizations, they have what's called workers' compensation. If you get hurt on the job, then they supply you money and, for the time until you get back on your feet and back to working. But I guess in these positions that they don't, listen, and I know we've all kind of seen the videos of, right? The exotic dancers that go up in the air and then they come down to the bottom and on top of the pole all the way down to the bottom, and they don't stop. They end up hitting that ground, end up hitting that stage full force. You know, accidents do happen in the job, especially when you're doing that trapeze stuff up on the pole. Let's continue.
Which is another thing. I don't think I have that on here. But you better believe that at the end of the year, baby, you gotta pay them taxes. So make sure you're saving your money. I am like dreading paying my taxes again. Number 5 con to being a dancer is the fact that you are always around drugs and alcohol, like cigarettes, all the time. You're constantly breathing it in. It's just not healthy. It's just not good. Like, that's one thing I really don't like about being a dancer, is like always being around smoke and alcohol, because I've been drinking way too much since I've been working in Atlanta. Way too much. Okay, so the numbers.
I just realized I'm not really in her pros list. I probably wasn't being as non-judgmental as I can, because a lot of her cons I've already talked about earlier. Yeah, you're around drugs, alcohol, and just being around it. You're around those people that like drugs and alcohol, right? So like your network that she was saying as a pro before, I don't really see it as a pro, right? Like, I don't feel like you're going to be meeting a lot of people within those spaces that are going to help you grow and build onto something different. There's probably going to be people that want you to stay and will confine your exit, right? Be a barrier to exit if you ever tried to upgrade.
Danger, there are stalkers, so you have to be careful and make sure you protect yourself. I highly suggest you get a pistol or 2 if you're a dancer, because you're constantly with cash. Also, someone to make sure that you get home at night. Okay. Oh, what is it? That was number 9. So
just real quick, any job where part of it you should get a pistol, if that's what the job is and it's making just as much money as the average or the median of what most people make throughout the United States, that doesn't seem worth it to me. You understand what I'm saying? It just doesn't seem worth it to me, right? Like, you can go and be an administrative assistant for around $50,000 per year as well, and not have to deal with walking around with the need of a pistol because of stalkers. A lot of this consideration with fast money, a lot is not put into discussion, is the level of degree and risk that is with it. There's other ways to make similar money without the degree of risk, okay? Let me put on my judgment hat real quick as we are wrapping up this video. Let's face it, this is a father's worst nightmare, okay? Gents, try all you can to stay in their lives as long as possible. Studies have shown young ladies without fathers in the household are more likely to seek love, attention, and affection from other men. You understand what I'm saying? You see how her eyes lit up when she saw the power that she has in her femininity as she's showing her skin to other men? The power that she realized that she may not have seen as a young girl, the power of her walking into the room and seeing her father's eyes light up time and time again just due to her presence. Now she has exchanged that loss, and I don't know her particular background, this is just my assumption. She has exchanged that loss that she never felt and realized the power that she has as men are looking at her from across the stage, across the room. You understand what I'm saying? This ish can go psychologically deep, you understand? But we got to be able to talk about it. That was my attempt at having an objective review. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully y'all learned something here today. Again, I'm gonna leave a link down in the description. That has been your video. I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Hit me up at Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews on my Instagram, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews at gmail.com. I do have a Patreon. Hit me up and join the inner circle. Join the family. Until next time, YouTube. Pardon the masculinity. Peace!